Hi, Inday. Tignan mo kung nagawa ko, Inday. Charan! Yan ang nagawa ko. Wala pang X dito. Kasi naubusan ako ng red. Ang ganda ng umaga pag flowers ang nakikita, Ma'am Angie. Yeah. And then, yung family ilalagay ko ngayon dito. Then, puno siya ng bulaklak. Wow, ang ganda yan. Yan yung naano ko. Hindi ko alam magagawa ko. Ganda niya. Ano lang naman to kasi, parang yung ano to siya ng garden. Nakita ko doon, hindi ko to binili. Nakita ko doon sa baba. Sabi ko, anuhan ko nga ito. Subukan ko nga ito. Kakayanin ko kasi matrabaho. Yahoo! Pinsan! Ayan yung ginagawa ko kahapon. Tinapos ko na. Wala pang X. Kulang pa ng X. Dito. Para ano. Yan. Wrong timing talaga, lagi tayo sabay ng live. Di ako makatambay ng matagal. Okay lang, Day. Kahit ako di ako makatambay ng matagal. Makatambay. Hindi nga ako nagtatambay sa iyo. Pasensya ka na, Day, kasi yung kamay ko rin gumagawa. Yan. Dito pa ako higaan. Okay lang, pinsan. Thank you, pinsan. Sa pag-like. Ito na yung ginagawa ko kahapon. So, malapit ko na siyang matapos. Ngayon yung gagawin ko sa baba. Kasi mamaya gagawin ko yung bulaklak ng kulay pula. Ito yung sa baba. Yung family, ito yung ilalagay ko. Kaya, red and white yung gamit ko kasi yun yung kulay ng flag ng Canada. Kaya yan ang ginamit ko. Red and white. Yan. Na-excite ako kagabi. Sabi ko gusto kong makita kung anong kalalabasan. And nagkulang ako ng ng bulaklak. Kaya bumili na naman ako ulit. Hindi lang kasi ako makabili ng ng iisang kulay. It's just Rail 22. Thank you, it's just Rail. Rail? Parang ano yan ang inaanak ko. Thank you, pinsan. Ngayon, ito naman ngayon ang gagawin ko. Puti. So, hindi ko alam kung hanggang saan yung nito. Maganda lang siya kasi para siya yung cross stitch na maganda siya. Gusto ko siya. Kaso nga lang, pag ganito nga lang na Amy Chelly, hi, shout out. I know. Oh, sure. Hi, Jenny. Jenny Stephen, hi, shout out. Maaga pa samba kami ngayon. Sige lang, pinsan. Pahinga ka para gumaling ka na. You look good today. Thank you, Jane. Jenny. Thank you so much. My nose. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Hmm. Love for you. Thank you, Jane. Jenny Stephens. Thank you for your love. Thank you. Oh, my God. My nose. What happened? It's crooked. Jenny's the video. Thank you. What guys? Yeah, I just want to. Hmm. Seem like it's not straight. Ah. It's look like it's not straight, but to my paper, to my guide, is straight. Let's try this. Shadow, Shadow 2 NG. Thank you. What you mean by Shadow 2? I have Shadow. 2, 4, 5, 6. Oh, you mean shout out? Shout out to you also. Hi, hi, hi. This is hard to. Dito. Dito. My nose. It's look like too far. Oh. Love for Angie. Thank you. My nose. Covan Bragg. Cowan. Thank you so much. One moment. I think I need medicine for my nose. For my allergy, I mean. Hi. Shout out Cowan. Cowan Bragg. Thank you. My nose is killing me. 1, 2, 3. Hi, Cowan Bragg from Jenny. Thank you. Shout out. Look at what I did. Mm. 2, 4. 2, 4. Like that. No. Mali, mali. It's going up. Family. My nose. Family. F. Jada. Ta-da-da. nandun sa baba. Okay. Ang pagsubok ay sadyang ganyan. Kakanta na lang natin to. Parang hindi siya ano. Isang hugot na to. Hindi ko na to babaguhin. Pag-ibig ay sadyang ganyan. Tiwala sa isa't isa kailangan sa ating pag-ibig. Wala akong pakialam, basta't taong tiwala sa isa't isa kailangan. mali. Kasi pinasok na niya yung F na dapat hindi. Asas. Asas. Okay. Dito. Wala, mahirap pala. Iahak. Shoot. Shoot. Mataas. There you go. Oh! Duh. There you go. Let's see. Okay. Pantay siya. I thought this is enough already. but it's still not enough. Teka. Ta-da! Family. Okay. Oh, look at that. Family. Uh-huh. 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 There you go. Ta-da! Family. Now the M. M, M, M. Let's do it. The M. M, M, M. Too far. Mataas. Mataas. Mataas siya. Ayan, bantay na. Asa na yun? Magana tayo tinapos. Hi, Inday. Tignan mo natapos ko, Day. Oh, yan ang natapos ko. Mahirap lang. Mahirap lang. Mahirap pa. Paakyat na yung ano ko. Ay, 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 ay. Di. Yeah, coming. Ito muna panoorin niyo. Yan. Yan muna panoorin niyo. Coming, coming. Lights on. Hi, Kabsat. Farm blog, thumbs up, calls, thank you. Danny's farm blog, thank you so much. Shout out. Hi, Divine. Andito na ako. Yan. Dito na ako. Bumili lang kami ng shelf ng aking mga bulaklak, Kabsat. This one.
Oh, for me?
No.
Oh, you got half?
Yeah, still I don't eat it because I feel like
Guilty.
I feel guilty. I put in the fridge because I was trying to hide it for you. But I can't.
You can't do that.
This one for you. Because this one it's not too cold already.
Okay.
See, I can eat now.
Okay, now you can. Don't put mine in the fridge.
I will put it here. I just put it in the fridge because I was trying to hide it for you. From you.
Oh. Nice.
So there is place all my flowers already.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Kamsat. Hi, Inday. Naikot lang sa mga naka-live din, host. Okay lang, Day. Kadadating lang din namin. Bumili kasi ako ng shelf ng aking mga bulaklak.
Send him right now, because he's on. Come on.
Growing peas, YouTube.
Premier by Kerastase repairs hair bounce, visibly reverses hair damage. Kerastase.
Well,
Thank you.
like Squarespace. Squarespace, like. What's going on, gardeners? It's Thursday, March 16th, and it is a beautiful late winter day here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina. And on today's video, I'm going to share
Yahoo!
with
My
all
love,
of you
shout out
5
ulit
secrets
sa
that will
lahat
help you grow
from
more peas
Boss
in your
Ding.
garden
Thank
than
you,
ever have
Insan.
before. Whether you prefer English peas, snow peas, or my personal favorite, snap peas, this guide applies to growing all of them. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell to receive new video notifications, and check out our Amazon storefront and spread shop in the video description for a list of the gardening products I use and awesome custom designed apparel and other gear. Your support is greatly appreciated. The first tip is to make sure you always grow your pea plants from seed. Never buy pea transplants because they are outrageously priced. I can go to the grocery store and I can buy a 1 pound bag of frozen peas for only about $2. But if I were to go to a nursery and I were to buy a 6-pack of pea transplants for about $2 to $4, I'm only going to get maybe a few dozen pods tops, which is only going to be a small handful of peas. So you will be spending an incredible amount of money if you buy pea transplants. Peas are one of the easiest plants for you to grow from seed, and this entire packet of seed here only costs $1.69, and it contains dozens of pea seeds. This is enough to sow
Bakit
an
hindi ako
entire
makapag...
bed full of peas for $1.69. So make sure you save your money and only start them from seed. The second tip to being successful growing peas is to make sure that you nail the timing. That's because
Hirap ay.
peas are both sensitive to very
Kabsat,
hot temperatures
insan mo,
and very
kabsat.
cold temperatures.
Sumayat.
They don't like the heat in the middle of the summer, and they also don't tolerate hard freezes. So
Tapay.
that's the reason the overwhelming
Insan
majority
mo,
of us will
kabsat.
be growing peas as a spring crop and as a fall crop. For those of us
Kuya.
with hot summers, which is the overwhelming majority of
Kuya,
us, we need to
Kuya
harvest our
Thames
peas before it
Farm,
gets
vlog
really
morning
hot.
sa'yo,
So,
kuya.
for spring planting peas, you
Wala
generally
ako
want to
kanina,
plant your
nag-ano
peas
siya,
about 2 to 4 weeks before your last chance of frost. While pea plants can
Bakit
tolerate
naman
a very
kabsat,
light frost and a
sumayot
very
ni
light freeze, they will
pinsan
start taking
ko?
damage when temperatures drop below 30
Haan mo
degrees
ah.
So when you plant
Ilocana
them 2 to
rayta,
4 weeks
kabsat.
before your last chance of frost, usually by the time they actually germinate, which takes about 10 to 14 days, the chances
Ang
of a
mumuti,
harvest
Ilocana no
are
agayat.
behind. I planted the pea seeds in this bed right here 4 weeks before my
Tudo.
last chance of frost because here it gets so hot in May that I need to start harvesting my peas before Memorial Day or else they'll get too woody and they won't taste good.
Awan
However,
pa'y
we had a late hard freeze last night. We got down to
nagsaya ata,
27
kicks
degrees
ba,
Fahrenheit. So
bagtit.
sometimes you love that risk when you plant your peas a little early. However,
Ay,
when you cover them with
inaapaw.
agricultural fabric, they generally make it through. And that is exactly what you see here, all of these pea plants were covered by that exact piece of agricultural fabric last night, and they sailed through with absolutely
Kasla ka malaawan ijay kwa kabsat taga ijay amumot iti uray itoy uray gayem dalaang uray dagi aglalako itoy ijay fast food kasdi ijay restaurant kunada ko okay honey okay baby ginaganon sila apan manan ag paaram kabsat apay sino gamin ti agar-aram kanya na ay napaw kabsat andito ako pinsan ko yan kila hindi man kami ano pero ano ko yan uy kabsat kabsat alaan ka nga ninong dya anak ko tano agawid gamin ka agpakasar dya anak ko alaan ka nga ninong
then you can just cover them with that agricultural fabric just to protect the fruit. And remember, this is the methodology for growing peas in places with hot summers. If you live in places with cool summers, like the Pacific Northwest or New England, where it doesn't get very hot.
Oo, ganun sila kahit di nila kilala tawag dahani. Oo. I know, dumagarog ka, kaslang ay, mabukbus. Kaso tibagbagada. Thank you, honey. Thank you, baby. Thank you, sweetheart. Nakasukat mo. Apay, papanam gamin kabsa ay pinsan. Nakasukat mo. Papanam gamin pinsan.
Recommended by Canadian dermatologists. Anti-dandruff shampoo eliminates up to
Kuna mapang kaagsimba.
dandruff on first use. Clinically proven action on dandruff and itchy scalp with selenium DS, salicylic acid, in a derm-grade formula. Dercos.
Chan!
An overseeding method. While you can start your pea
Oh my
plants
God,
as
I can't
transplants
believe
if
that
you
I
wish.
did
In
this.
my experience, they germinate best when sown directly in ground, and this will save you a lot of time because you won't have to go through the transplanting step. When planting your pea seeds, you want to plant the seeds 1 inch deep, space the plants about 5 to 6 inches apart, and space your rows about 8 to 12
Mapangkanoy
inches
jay
apart.
church.
So here I'm going to put 3 rows of peas in this raised bed. And while you can use your fingers to simply pluck a hole into the ground, another great tip is to use the base of a permanent marker right here. So I will simply make holes 1 inch deep every 5 to 6 inches in a straight line. Now we're going to plant our seeds.
Punta ako magsumbong sa Diyos. Aray. Ayan, kabsat, magsusumbong na daw siya sa Diyos. Parang may mali.
Behind that is that seeds don't have 100% germination. So if all you do is place 1 seed in each hole, you're going to have numerous locations where nothing germinates. However, I've also found a problem with overseeding every single hole. Because you're using 2 peas per hole, you'll wind up wasting a lot of seeds because you're going to have to cut and thin out the extra plants. So what I like to do is place an extra seed every other hole. That way I will overseed by only
Ayan mong kabsat.
50%. So I won't be wasting so many peas. And if I have some blank spots where nothing germinates, all I'll do is I will dig up an extra plant and I will move it over. This way I don't have to use so many seeds, but I still get a great overseeding effect. The fourth secret to growing more peas than you ever had before is to get the fertilizing times right. Now the wonderful thing about peas is that they are nitrogen fixers. They have
Ay,
the ability to
talaga?
siphon nitrogen out of the atmosphere.
Sige,
So
sige.
they don't require heavy fertilizing like a lot of the annual vegetables that we grow. And for that reason, they make a great plant for new gardeners to grow. However, I have found that they do enjoy fertilizing at 3 times of the year. The first time and the second time is at sowing seed and at thinning. And for those times, I like using
Kano ka nga agawid, kabsat?
roughly 555 NPK granulated fertilizer. And that's what you see right here. This is just an all-purpose bag of organic fertilizer that you can get off the shelves at Walmart or Home Depot or any big box store. Anything around a 555 NPK will do. It can be a 454 or 444.
Kaano ka agawid kabsat?
All of the numbers are represented. So these are the peas that we just sowed.
Siguro mga January yan. Mga January dyan kasarda.
Or a teaspoon or so. So I'm going to go throughout this entire bed and sprinkle the fertilizer roughly in the planting hole. Now that the fertilizer has been applied, we're going to backfill all of the planting holes and we're going to water them in very well. If your soil is warm, you can see germination in as little as 7 days. If your soil is still pretty cool, it may take as long as 10 to 14 days for the peas to germinate. The second time that I like to apply
Ni
fertilizer is
busbing
during the thinning process, and this is the time
baam
when
latan
the
taapan
plants
sayot.
have germinated due to the overseeding
Ay, grabe ka,
process.
kabsat,
Now, these pea plants are all ready to be thinned, and they're about 3 weeks old
Huh.
since the date that I placed the seed in ground. And remember,
Mamaya
organic fertilizer
magsisisi
is not
ka.
immediately bioavailable. It has to be broken down by the soil biology in order to be used by the plant. So right now, that fertilizer that I
Tuhay. Ay, kabsat.
3 different types of pea plants. What are they? YouTube.
Agay kagaminon. Tapno pa ka sa namon. Uy. Tapno hanga mapan iti sa balen. Tagal pa pala kabsat June Bukuva. Ah, June. Sayang
Welcome to the Rustic Garden. Today I want to talk to you about 3 general types of pea categories which you would plant. There's a lot of varieties. There's dwarf peas, tall peas, purple flowers, white flowers, wrinkled peas, purple pods, plain pods.
Asidagan kabsat.
There are 3 main categories. Before I get to that,
Asidag ka magayam nga makawi doon.
peas like cross 70 degrees. This is my dog.
Siya gamin ko kadwak dagay kwa ngay. Jay
Static builds up in the house, and you can see it really in my dog's hair. When the static leaves the house,
Jay kabsat nila kay ko. Then siguro isuna nagrigat magamin iti kwa.
not everybody has a long-haired dog.
Napudo ti no agtudtudo nga agawid.
Peas like 40-degree soil to get started. Anything lower, they're not going to germinate. They like moist soil, so they don't like soil that is soaking wet, or they're going to rot. They like phosphorus, don't give them a lot of nitrogen, and the yields of peas decreases the days increase. So you really want to get them out early into the ground. There are 3 major types. There's English peas, snap peas, pod peas. Those are the 3 types of peas that you can really
No December kami nga agawid.
because
Hi Divine, apan kami sugod ni Busbeng.
shell peas,
Ay.
peas that are just for the mature pea themselves, you don't eat the pod.
Hi Divine, nakikita mo na ba daw si Busbeng, Divine?
You have your snap peas. The key word is snap. Anything that has the word snap in it is an edible pod with mature peas. You let them mature, and when you break them, they make that classic snap sound. That's how they got their name. And then you have sugar peas or snow peas, and these are really the flat pods or the immature pods.
Kabsat,
It's all
adati
seed
bagak
circle.
kanya.
And when you go to the stores, you're going to see all kinds of names. These are Alaskan peas, and these are
Adati bagak kanyam kabsat.
And sometimes
I-message
look
kita
on
sa
the back,
messenger.
what they are. I actually had to look these up because it always doesn't tell you. Usually
Thank you Divine.
written on the package, it's a shelling type pea. Again, shelling peas, you only eat the peas themselves. And then you can go to, I said, here's a dwarf variety. This is Hey, look. Who's gonna get a treat? And when you look on this package to figure out what kind of pea it is, it doesn't tell you. So I had to look this up.
Yes.
And this is also a shelling pea. So these are just grown for the peas themselves. Then you have a super sugar snap, and it gets confusing because the word sugar.
Hindi
is
pa
in it
po,
and the word
pero
snap
pag
is in it. Over here you have sugar peas, you have
comment
snow
siya
peas,
dito, baka
and
makita ko na siya,
and
te.
it says snap.
Andyan siya, ano,
So you
ayan,
have
Divine.
sugar snap, you know, super snow sugar snap. The
Hello,
word
look what
snap
I
is
did.
in it. It's an edible pod,
Chidam!
mature pea, full-size pea. That's what you always look for whenever it says snap. This one says melting sugar snow pea. So this is more of a stir fry, and it's just a flat pod with immature peas. This is right on the.
Look at it, baby.
shell pea. So this is
Look at that, honey. That'll look nice on a
Then you
wall.
have the super snappy. Again, the keyword is snap. This is a pea that you grow to full size. You can eat the pod, and you can eat large mature peas. The dwarf gray sugar, only say sugar, and I don't know if you can really see it on there, but these are the flat pods with immature peas. Again, your stir fry.
Tibos Beng, comment ka nga po. Nag-comment na siya, Divine.
You have the Oregon sugar pod, sugar, keyword, sugar or snow.
Inano mo ba yung sinabi ko?
Immature peas, your stir fry. And then you have your
Ta-
Cascadia sugar snap.
Parang mababa,
So the word sugar again.
mababa yung isang paa ng M.
Right. Full pea, you don't eat the pod. They're usually called English peas or shell peas. Snap peas, which is a nice full pea, full size.
Mababa yung paa ng isang M.
Very sweet. This is what I tend to grow more of. I highly recommend the snap
Yeah.
peas. And then you have the sugar peas or the snow peas, which are the flat pods or the immature.
Andyan na siya, Divine.
Now I'm going to do a video to show you how to plant peas indoors, but I just wanted to show you this because I think it's interesting. A lot of people say you can't start peas indoors. That's not true. You have to start them in pea pots because look at the root system that comes out. So when I start them in these pea trays, pea pots, they go into a plastic tray. Make sure there's moisture staying in the bottom here because you want the roots here to survive. But these peas are only 10 days old. They were planted on, or actually 9 days old, planted on February 10th. Today is February 9th. And the reason that you want to start them indoors is right now it's 1 degree outside. So I can't put the peas into the ground. The ground's too wet, it's too cold. But come the warming, hopefully March 1st, these are started a little bit early. You want to start peas about 10 days indoors before they would go outside. But I'm going to have mature plants, or not mature plants, but plants that have really started growing for at least 2 weeks that I can put right into the ground, and I don't have to worry about them rotting. And just in case you didn't get my sarcasm, I don't use my dog to tell me when to plant the peas out. I really look for, as soon as I get 40-degree temperature, when I know that's coming, I try to start peas indoors about 10 days before they would go outside. Hope you enjoyed the video and you understand the difference between the three main varieties. I highly recommend snap peas. They're easy to grow. Please check out my blog at www.therustedgarden.blogspot.com and also check out my YouTube videos. Thanks.
Snap peas. Snap peas. That's what we grow.
We go already before, right? Last year?
Well, you grow. What kind did you grow?
Snow peas and sweet peas.
Okay. Well, they're just told about 3 different kinds.
A random survey I found online.
Snap
it was
peas.
a popular vegetable
You can
grown
eat the
in
pea
garden.
pods.
But a lot of times you
Okay.
end up with huge plants, lots of leaves,
Yes,
and
kabsat.
not a lot of tomatoes.
Iramidan na to kabsat kasta no agawid Pinas anak ko pang welcome ba. Sige, i-anuhan mo lang ako kabsat. Bigyan mo ako ng apelyido o pangalan. Depende sa gusto mong i-ano. Depende sa gusto mong ilagay ko. Sige, sige. Tumatanggap ako. Tapos isi-send ko.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm Brian, And if this is your first time here and you are looking to learn how to grow your own organic
Chang,
fruits and vegetables,
chang,
legally,
chang, chang.
Growing green beans, YouTube.
Charge ako phone habang naghihintay sa kanila. Sige lang, Kabsa. Sige lang, Insan.
Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jara, and I teach people how to garden and grow food. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to grow lots of green beans from seed all the way to harvest. I will discuss
This
cultivar
is
selection, how
not
and when to sow the
right.
seeds, and when to harvest the pods. Green beans are by far one of the easiest crops you can grow. They produce an abundance of pods in about 2 to 2.5 months from seed with very little care.
Sige, Kabsat. I-ano mo sa akin. Gagawan kita.
So first thing you need to do is go buy your seeds. So let's talk a little bit about
I-send mo lang sa akin kung ano yung gusto mong ano.
You have bush beans and you have
Ilagay ko.
Bush beans are smaller, compact plants. They typically don't get more than a foot tall. They're very low to the ground. They are a great option to plant if you have a very small garden or maybe you want to try growing beans in containers. I especially love to grow bush beans underneath my bigger or taller crops like my tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants. And the second category are the vining or pole beans. These are vining plants. They definitely need some kind of vertical structure to grow upon. Depending on the cultivar you're growing, some get, 5-foot long vines, even all the way up to maybe like 8 or 10 foot long. I really like to grow the vining or pole beans because at harvest time, you just simply
Ginawa mo na ba yung sinabi ko, Divine? Punta ka sa subscription mo. Punta ka doon sa mga nag-subscribe sa'yo.
Options and colors of my favorite vegetables that you would never find in the grocery stores. For example, the standard green bean is low.
Gusto mo i-guide kita sa cellphone? Cellphone ba gamit mo?
Purple, like these purple potted pole beans. Yellow pods with red streaks, like the French horticultural beans. Or yellow pods with purple streaks, like the dragon tongue bush beans. By the way, I have
Okay, gagayad kita sandali.
cultivars that I'm mentioning available on my website if you would like to.
Kukunin ko yung...
Years of growing lots of different varieties of either
Kasi laptop kasi yung...
beans. And to be honest,
Inano ko kanina eh.
difference when it comes to, like flavor or texture across the different varieties. But if there's a particular variety that
Sandali.
you grew and there's a certain flavor that
Igagayad
really stood
kita.
out, please comment below and let me know the name of that cultivar. I'd be really interested in trying that cultivar out next season. There's a couple other terms that you might come across when you're purchasing your seeds, and a lot of these refer to like the shape of the pods. Green beans, string beans,
Underneath my
wax beans,
chocolate?
and snap beans
Is my
pretty
chocolate?
much all mean the same thing as just your standard green
Underneath.
bean. Then you have like these
Is that it?
Romano style
I think
beans,
that
which
is
are
your phone.
wide like this sweet vein Romano bean. There's also Harry Colbert, also known as French beans.
I'm here, baby.
Which are pencil
I got it.
None of this affects production or flavor. It's more your preference.
Oh my God,
Maybe some of
but
these shapes are more
but-
suitable for certain recipes than others. Like I said, the polar viney beans
Maybe
do require
try
some
it.
kind of vertical structure to grow upon.
hiding muscle and joint pain behind a smile? Voltaren can help. Voltaren contains a clinically proven anti-inflammatory that penetrates deep to relieve your pain and reduce inflammation. Voltaren, the joy of movement.
Nagawa mo na ba?
Lunch or dinner is
Wala pa rin?
It's me.
Nung ginawa mo ba siya, Divine, nag-refresh ka?
That's a meal.
Exactly. Make a meal of it. Order the new Hat Trick flatbread pizza and garlic bread on the Tim's app.
So let me give you two ideas on structures I like to use here in my garden. The first structure is a simple trellis system that I build using 2 T-posts. Here's one here and there's one on the end over there. The taller the T-post that you can use for this, the better, because like I said, some of these vines can get like 8 feet long. So the more space they have to grow vertically, the longer the vines, and you'll get a little bit more bean pods from it. I then get a electrical conduit pipe. This one is 3/4 inch thick. I don't recommend that you use one that's thinner than that because it's definitely wet. I attach the pipe to the very top of the T-post with a PVC T-fitting. I stick the electrical conduit pipe into
Something wrong.
T first, and then it sits right on top of the T-post. I use this heavy-duty vinyl mesh trellis, and I just weave it across the electrical conduit pipe. I get all this stuff from Amazon, so if you want to get the same one, especially this vinyl mesh trellis, I've been using this for years. This stuff lasts a long time. I will put links in the description below.
Subukan mong Divine, mag-refresh. Turn on, turn on, turn off, turn on mo, Divine.
Another great option is building a cattle panel trellis, like this one. These are awesome for growing pole or vine beans because they will sprawl up over the entire arch, walk through, and very easily find the beans to pick them. Alright, so you picked out your seeds, and now you're ready to start growing your beans. The most common and more generalized rule is to direct sow your bean seeds right after your last average spring frost date. You can also get a fall crop by direct sowing some seeds at the end of summer. Just backtrack 4 months from your first average winter frost date to make sure there is enough time for them to grow and for you to harvest everything before the cold comes. Now, let's say you want to get a 3-week early start on your beans before your last average spring frost date, or you're having issues getting good germination, maybe because the soil is too cold, wet, or maybe critters are digging and eating the seeds. You can sow the seeds indoors in a 72 cell seed tray like this one. I would sow 1 seed per
No.
cell.
I need to put IOU.
And transplant them into your garden. I find that if you keep the little bean seedlings in here beyond the 3-week mark, they have a tendency to get root bound really quickly. If you are in zone 7 and below, you probably can grow green beans straight through the summer since you have mild summers. However, if you have very hot summers, many days over 90 degrees Fahrenheit, like in the southern parts of the United States, zones 8 and up, green beans really don't do too well, so I don't recommend them as a summer crop in that case. You're better off growing a crop in spring and then another in fall. And they definitely are not a winter crop for anybody. Some gardeners like to soak bean seeds overnight to help soften up the shells. Honestly, I don't do that with beans because they germinate so easily anyways. I prefer to soak seeds overnight if it's something with a hard shell and known to be difficult to germinate, like loofah or moringa, for example. So it's up to you. Alright, so let me show you how to plant the seeds. I don't have a spot in my garden right now that's empty, so we're gonna just pretend with these grow bags just so I can show you like a soil surface. Let's say that you want to direct sow some bush beans. For that, I recommend that you follow the square foot gardening guidelines, which is 9 seeds per square foot. I just eyeball this, just make your 9 little holes in about a square foot area, and you're going to pop in 1 seed per hole. Then cover the seeds up with some soil, keep it nice and moist, and it should germinate pretty quickly, like 3 to 5 days. Again, that method is for the bush beans, and if I was planting my bush beans underneath other crops like tomatoes, peppers, all that thing, I would follow the same guideline. Alright, let's say that you want to plant some pole or viney type bush beans. You're basically just going to make a trench, like a straight line right underneath your trellis system. Make this trench like no deeper than 1 inch because you're going to plant your seeds no more deep than 1 inch. And then I just sprinkle in bean seeds, literally one right next to the other. I just eyeball this, I don't count it, don't worry about it, it's fine, you can really cram in those seeds in there. I find that crops that have thin stems also have pretty shallow and small root systems, so you can kind of pack them in closer together. If you decided to grow your own plugs, your bean seeds will probably look similar to this in about 3 weeks. This is not beans, this is actually longevity spinach. I'm just using it for demonstration purposes, but more or less they'll be about this big. If your plugs are for a bush bean cultivar, then again, you're going to do the square foot gardening method. Just make 9 holes in there and pop your plugs in. If your plugs are for a pole or vining bean cultivar, then you're going to dig a trench.
I am Steve. As a child, I yearned for the mines.
Want to get the most out of one sheet? Grab Bouncy. It's inspired by a dishcloth, and you can ditch the mess when you're done. Bouncy, quicker picker upper.
And then lay down the plugs one right next to the other, cover them with soil, and water them in. An interesting fact about green beans is that they are nitrogen fixers. What that means is that the plants pull nitrogen from the air and their roots affix it into the soil.
Okay ka na, Divine?
Crops are used as cover crops. It's also another reason why they are great companion plants as they add extra nitrogen into the soil which neighboring plants can use. Some gardeners like to inoculate their bean seeds by dusting them with some beneficial mycorrhizae. It is said to help them grow better and affix more nitrogen. However, I have tried it and I didn't notice anything different. So in my opinion, it's not necessary and not worth the added expense. But if you notice a difference, please comment below. There is also no necessity to actually fertilize your green bean crops. Actually, too much fertilizer, specifically nitrogen, reduces yield because the plant will focus more on leafy green growth instead of flowers, which produce buds. But there is some research indicating that an initial application of fertilizer and then none thereafter helps to increase yield. So this season, I sprinkled in some organic granular fertilizer into the trenches and then sprinkled in my seeds. And I do think it helped increase yields just a little bit. Now that they are growing in your garden, let's talk about requirements.
Bigay na po
Green beans do
ako
need
doon,
sun at least 8
anhydrous.
hours. When it comes to soil, beans don't
Nakalagay na
require
po
too much. I
doon.
mean, obviously they will grow awesome in soil that has
Anhyd?
organic material in it, but quite honestly, they're not that picky when it comes to soil. As far as water requirements, they just like a nice, consistent supply. They don't like overwatering. That's actually bad and can cause root rot pretty easily with bean plants. Just make sure the soil kind of dries out a little bit in between watering. I also find that it's not necessary to prune bean plants like
Nakikita mo ba siya ngayon?
Unless you notice a lot of heavily diseased leaves or something like that, then it would be a good idea to remove those particular leaves because they are now host plants for whatever the pathogen is that's causing that disease, and it could help it spread to the rest of the plant. You can kind of prevent the spread a little bit by spraying your bean plants with 1 cup of hydrogen peroxide per gallon of water. And that
Hindi
just kind
pa?
of cleans and disinfects all the leaves and helps prevent the spread of those diseases. When you grow beans, there aren't that many pests. I mean, there are some that are pretty common that you probably will experience at some point. But in my opinion, they're not like too hard to deal with, like some of the pests I get on my squash plants or tomatoes, for example. One of the more common pests that I see are called leaf rollers. Leaf rollers are actually the larva stage of some kind of a moth, and they will start chewing up the edges of the leaves and then roll them in. I always get a little bit
That's
of some
weird.
leaf rollers every now and then, but it's not such a big issue. It doesn't like overtake my whole plant, so I don't really treat for it. But I know that's not the case in everyone's gardens. If you do have to treat for it, I recommend the use of BT spray. Another pretty common pest you're going to get are aphids because they love to suck the juices out of the tender new growth. And here's the thing with aphids. They are a food source for ladybugs and a lot of other beneficial insects. So personally, if I see them, I don't want to treat with them with any kind of chemical or something because they do attract ladybugs. Like, I usually find ladybugs close around.
Baka siya ang nag-hide sa'yo?
It's pretty bad like, building up on certain spots of your plants. You can spray them off with water from your water hose. If you're noticing that the plants are declining and the pods kind of look misshapen, then go ahead and treat.
Baka nga.
You can make home sprays with some really strong smelling essential oils like peppermint or rosemary. You mix it up with some water and a couple drops of an all natural soap, not Dawn dish soap. That's actually detergent, not a soap. Use something natural like Dr. Bonner's. Just put a couple drops in there so that way the water and the essential oils will mix together better. It is said that aphids just don't like the smell of strong things. You can also use neem. I personally don't use neem oil in my garden because I'm in Florida, it gets really hot, and whenever I use something that's oil-based, it has a tendency to burn my plants. Let's talk about the diseases. I mean, I'm in Florida.
Family.
What disease do I have now? Because I get them all. Okay, I get rust, I get powdery mildew, funguses, molds, just everything. It's part of gardening here in Florida. But I have a
Look at that. Now I will do L.
Squarespace.
So it's an official website. Bit with Squarespace like.
Ah, yeah. Sure.
Derco Anti-Dandruff Shampoo eliminates up to 100% visible dandruff, recommended by Canadian dermatologists.
Beautiful beans. Stunning, easy to grow, and proudly prodigious. What a winner! Let's discover all you need to pick perfect pods every time, because here comes our bean growing masterclass. Recognize these guys? Well, this is pretty much all you'll find in a supermarket for much of the year. but like so many other crops, grow them yourself and you'll have so much more to choose from. And of course, beans are incredibly easy to preserve, whether by freezing
Ayan.
or canning or dehydrating, so you can enjoy beans throughout the year. What we have here are our standard green beans, also known as string beans, snap beans, French fillet or fine beans, you name it. Now they're generally harvested quite young before their beans inside have swollen, and they've got that pleasing snap to them as well. They are tolerant of hot weather, so these are great for warmer climates.
It's a little
Then
bit
there are
far.
the flat or Romano beans, which include runner beans. Now these guys are great for slicing up as a steaming hot accompaniment to just about any meal. They generally yield more than your average green beans because the pods are that much bigger and therefore heavier. And they are a great choice for places with slightly cooler summers, but they can struggle when it gets really hot. Along with sensationally speckled borlotti beans or French horticultural beans, these guys can be harvested young to enjoy whole with their pods and all, left so the beans swell for shelling, or left to dry out to enjoy over the winter months. There are yellow wax beans,
Yan.
stunning purple beans born on purple tinged vines, and a whole host of splodged, sprouted or speckled pods that really jazz things up in
Eating fresh green beans out of your garden, you too.
Parang ang ano nito, Divine, nagko-cross stitch.
Tip number one, find the green bean you want to pick. It'll be this one right here. Before I move on to picking this bean, you guys hit the like button, subscribe button. Tip number two is obviously picking that bean. Now that I got the bean picked, the last tip is just eat it.
Just eat it.
It's nice, it tastes like a fresh, raw green bean.
This year, all the beans, I will put it there.
Butter and salt on it, pepper, if that's what you like. Eat them fresh, raw, it's delicious.
The trough that you gave me, the planter box.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to the garden tonight. We will be picking green beans and showing y'all what to do with the above.
I'm gonna put green beans on the back row. So
Okay.
they can grow up.
Okay.
And
There is
then-
a lot of green beans there.
What, in seed?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's what I'll do, so they can grow up and they can climb up the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll put peas and carrots in the front.
Okay.
That you may have in your garden. Let's go!
Alright, so these are my green bean plants, and they are a fragile plant, so I don't push them around too much, but you can push them back a good bit. So with a green bean plant, you don't want to pull, you want to snip, because you don't want to pull off this entire stem. So I always snip instead of pull. Alright, now we have our harvest for the night, and we will go inside and show you all how to freeze these.
Wow, I don't have enough.
Alright, so we brought the green beans in. We're gonna snap off the top end and the bottom end. We put them in a full layer so we can clean them all up when we're done here. This is probably the most time consuming of the whole process. Alright, while we are snapping the ends off, we're gonna get a kettle of water boiling. You only need enough of water just to cover the green beans when you put them in, so you don't need a full kettle. Just kind of figure out how much water you need, how many green beans you have. I like to pick my green beans young. They're not quite as bitter. They're a little bit sweeter when they're younger. Usually when they start to form pods, and you can see the beans on the inside, on the outside, like those little bumps. That's usually a little too big. Green beans go limp pretty quickly, so when you pick green beans, you hear that snap. That's the way they're supposed to sound. But if it bends like really easy, it's not a fresh green bean. So I like to pick the green beans, either use them for dinner that night or the next night. If I don't use them within like 2 to 3 days, I will either freeze them, give them away. You can also make like green bean pickles if you put some vinegar and sugar, spices in a jar. You can kind of treat them like refrigerator pickles, and that's really yummy as well. But if you're not going to use them in a couple days, I would suggest figuring out what you're going to do with them. Alright, now we're going to give them a good rinse, make sure they're good and washed before we put them into the boiling water. Okay, so when your water comes to a rolling boil, you're just going to throw your green beans into that water, and you're going to let that water come back to a boil. So now you just wait for the green beans. Once they hit the water, it's going to cool the temperature a little bit, but you wait for that water to come back to boil. As soon as the water boils, you want to get the green beans out. We will drain them and cool them really quickly. Once those green beans start to boil, you want to get them off. This process is just called blanching, so you're not cooking them all the way. You're just preparing them to be in the freezer. You want to drain that water.
Oh dear.
Guilty.
What is going on?
I'm possibly in menopause. My period cramps are really bad. You are so controlling! Well, maybe you need to be controlled. You're not even wearing care! I don't know the bad thing!
You look like amazing.
Out there with Blue Wilderness. Plants draw nutrients from the soil, so feeding is now essential if we want a good yield. If the conditions are not suitable for the plants, they will show us with slowed growth, changes in the leaves, drying of the flowers, small fruits, and the like.
Welcome back, guys. My name is Buck Whitaker, and today we're going to expose the biggest gardening disasters you never saw coming. One wrong move, like drowning your plants with egg water, and your whole garden could be on the brink of collapse. From crushed eggshells to coffee grounds, these Amish tricks work, but only if you do them right. One tiny mistake, and you could be feeding your plants poison instead of nutrients. Tune in, because what you're about to learn might just save your garden from total ruin. 1. Boost humidity with a pebble tray. Got thirsty plants that love moisture but hate getting their leaves misted? A pebble tray is your new best friend. Grab a shallow dish, toss in some pretty pebbles or river rocks, and fill it with water just below the top of the stones. Pop your potted plants on top, and as the water evaporates, it'll create a perfect little humid bubble around them. But be warned, there's one crucial mistake that could turn your humidity haven into a disaster. And most plant parents don't realize it until it's too late. Just make sure the pots aren't sitting in the water itself. Nobody wants soggy roots. This trick is a lifesaver during dry winter months when heaters suck all the moisture out of the air. Plus,
Look at that!
Extra fancy without any extra work. Dry air can stress your plants. Here's an easy way
Look
to
at
keep
that.
them happy. 2.
Aw.
Eggshell power up for plants.
That's
Before
nice,
you
honey.
chuck those eggshells in the trash,
That's
consider
nice.
this. They're packed with calcium, and your tomatoes, peppers, and squash are begging for it.
What color should be behind it?
With a mushy, rotting
Behind?
bottom, that
White?
calcium problem
What
means
behind?
eggshells are the cure. Grin
rinse, dry, and
You put it on the
crush
wall,
them
it's
in
brown
little bits
back.
before sprinkling them around your plants. They'll slowly break down,
Why?
releasing calcium right into the soil. Want to speed things up? Blend them into
Or
a fine
depend.
powder for a quicker nutrient
Because
bonus. Slugs and snails hate crawling
this
over
one
soft
is all
eggshells.
flowers.
Win-win. Don't throw away those eggshells. Your plants
Here,
will love them.
inside,
Egg water for
there is a
supercharged
flowers.
growth. Speaking of eggs, don't toss out that leftover water after boiling them. It's loaded with calcium, and your plants will
Thank you,
Let it
Divine.
cool completely, then use it to
Mag-out
grow
na
your
ako.
garden. Tomatoes, peppers,
Thank
and
you,
onions
Kabsat
are great
Cakes.
for the
Thank
extra
you.
shot of
Thank you,
nutrients. Just be
Pinsan.
careful while it's
Bye-bye.
hot.